Welcome to the South Point Casino and Resort. A little behind schedule, but nonetheless ready for the second day of action of the 7th annual D3Hoops.com Classic. It is game number 97 all-time at the D3Hoops.com Classic, and we will count our way up to 100 throughout the afternoon. It's the first of 3 women's games, and it's the second game of the weekend, or of the week, I should say, event for the Co-University Co-Hawks as they take on the Pacific Lutheran University Lutes. Gordon Mann and Pat Coleman along calling the action for you here this afternoon. We get a late start because of some shot clock difficulties, but those are worked out, and we are now ready to go here with Co and Pacific Lutheran. Pacific Lutheran making their D3Hoops.com Classic debut on the women's side, and the Pacific Lutheran Lutes starting lineups, Kaylin Voss, Anna Hurd, Kristen Sturtevant, Samantha Calais, and Lacey Nicholson. And Calais is the one to keep an eye on. 14.2 points per game, leads the team in blocks, leads the team in free throw percentage. Transfer from Skagit Valley Community College. For the Co-University Co-Hawks, same 5 that they've used all season save one game. Holmes, Hobbs, Hanschke, Lehman, and Lehman are the 5 on the floor for Co-University. Thanks for the production help to Dave McHugh. And getting the headshots there on the starting lineup. Co-University in the gold and maroon. Primary color gold this afternoon. And Alina Hobbs wastes no time going to the rim for 2. And Hobbs, Pat, who was the one bright spot in a otherwise kind of dim performance yesterday, starts off quickly here.
Yeah, a very hard worker. That was the thing that impressed me most about her yesterday, Gordon. In a game and a day where not much was going right for Co, she was a consistent force and, single-handedly, I would say, kept them in the game because they weren't in the game. But whatever happened positive for them, she was pretty much centered around her.
Hobbs, first-team All-Conference last year, was the D3Hoops.com West Region Rookie of the Year as a freshman, and was All-Region both seasons here at Co, and has been in the All-American conversation every single season. So Hobbs is a real good player for the Co-Hawks. Pacific Lutheran, first shot, no good. Rebound controlled by Jordan Holmes, the 5'7" junior guard from Cedar Rapids. Mickey Hanschke, who was also All-Conference last year, point guard, who played in Brazil in one of the traveling teams. It's the 3 there, and the Co-Hawks are on top quickly here, 5-0. And Pacific Lutheran comes into the game 1-8. Their lone win was against NAIA Warner Pacific. They're 0-6 against D3 opponents this year.
Yeah, and there's going to be some ways, and this might be more of a mismatch also, not just in terms of the record, but also think about the fact that Co has a game under their belt already, and when you take those weeks off around the holiday break, sometimes it takes a little while to get accustomed to things. So they also have that advantage as well.
Head coach Jennifer Childress, a graduate of George Fox, trying to rebuild the Pacific Lutheran program in a really, really tough conference. Along with her alma mater, Lewis and Clark and Whitman and Puget Sound. We'll see 2 of those 3 here today. Throw in Whitworth, and not a lot of easy wins to come by as that shot is short, and the Lutes bring the ball back the other way. Kaylin Voss, senior guard from Eatonville, Washington, feeds it down low. Shot is blocked off the hands of Lacey Nicholson. The Lutes recovers, shot's no good. And it looks like free throws coming here for Kristen Sturtevant, the sophomore guard from Buckley, Washington.
Yeah, Lutes also start 3 seniors in this struggling season, but, a pair of sophomore starters, a couple of key players off the bench are younger, so there are some people who are going to come in and try to help continue to build this program, but it is, in a situation right now where if they need to turn some things around or they are going to really struggle in conference.
Both free throws good, and so Kristen Sturtevant, who's now she's an 80% free throw shooter. She's only shot 10 this year, but she's 8 for 10. Co-Hawks with the basketball. Jenna Lehman to the side, to the baseline. Kick outside. Mickey Hanschke for 3. Fade away, no good. And the rebound will trickle into the Lutes bench. Kaylin Voss gives it a look. Pacific Lutheran had their men's team here last year, and they went 2-0.
Well, we're always glad to see Northwest Conference teams come out. You talked about the fact that they played Warner Pacific. It's really difficult for Northwest Conference teams to find non-conference games because there are no D3 teams in the area whatsoever for them to play.
Right.
this is not too far of a destination, and we usually give them a couple of pretty good opponents. Always D3 opponents at the D3hoops.com Classic.
Despite what the signs on the entry may say. Lacey Nicholson.
I love the 20 logos for this 14-team tournament.
Yeah, there's a number of logos, and they're splashed in some interesting places. They flash in the game room and across the marquee outside, but they needed some extra logos, so they took some logos from the D2 tournament that's played here the week before, the South Point Classic. And obviously, we're very attuned to the Division III team, so the moment you see 6 logos you've never seen before, you know something's a little off.
Simon Fraser University.
Yeah. Also from that part of the country, though, ironically, they're all from the Northwest. So
yep.
Northwest Nazarene and a number of other schools of that nature. 7-3 is Co on top here. It's 7:16 to play in the first quarter. Kaylin Voss will try the 3, and she connects.
Yeah, she thought a couple times about it. She hasn't had the greatest success from beyond the arc so far this season, just 18% coming in, but give someone an extra second to think about it, set her feet. You got a chance to knock it down.
Pacific Lutheran hanging in this game, 7-6, as Alina Hobbs drives to the rim, up and good for Hobbs, who averages 16.5 points per game. Also the team's leading shooter from the free throw line.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about Hobbs.
Cedar Rapids Junior, so Hobbs has one more year after this one.
Playing at home.
Yeah. He's out of bounds, and Hobbs thinks about hopping over the table.
Coming our way.
Yeah, thinks better of it.
Let's see. 6 games, 12 hours of basketball yesterday. We had only one ball that about half went through our broadcast position. We had a Ramapo player that barely kept himself
Nick
out
Stanek,
of us.
Yeah.
It's doing all right. We're pretty exposed, but it's all right. That's what courtside is about. I just raised my hand and waved it. I don't know if you could see it.
I did.
Well, I know you could.
Oh,
I understand that you could.
You understand.
It was more important that maybe everybody else.
I'm pretty sure they can see us. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what your level of self-esteem is.
Gordon's the one in the tie. I'm the one in the polo.
Julia Berenson drives to the left, kick out, Hanschke for 3, got it.
Yeah, and she's she's a 38% three-point shooter. She's a 4-year starter for them, and she is someone who had a little bit of a struggle yesterday, but if she gets hot, she's going to be a big part today.
Third team All-West region as a sophomore. As Samantha Calais, one of the seniors on the team, going to drop back, try the 3, and got it.
All right.
Pacific Lutheran answers. 2 threes for the Lutes here in this first quarter, and the Cohawks lead cut in half. It's 12-9 with 5:33 to play.
Calais, the leading scorer on the team in terms of average, at 14.2 points a game, 36% from downtown.
Hanschke will try another top of the key, and this one's good. And Mickey Hanschke sends the Lutes into a 30-second timeout as bombs away from outside for the senior from Iowa City.
Yeah, if you're Pacific Lutheran, first of all, you have an opportunity to be in this game, right? And there's some games that they have not been in this year, to be perfectly honest. But they can't afford to give up those kind of open looks. They're not cheap looks, right? Because they're looks from downtown. But you got to get out there. You got to defend out beyond the perimeter. Co has just established that fact. And I'm sure one of the things that Jennifer Childress is doing right now is reminding them of that fact.
Yeah, Coach Childress, an associate head coach prior to this at Division II Western Washington for about a 7-year span. She was an assistant at Cal State San Bernardino, one of many schools in the UC system. And again, trying to build a program here in a conference where wins are not easy to come by. And even the Division III opponents that they tend to get on the West Coast, they tend to be the top-tier teams from the South and from Minnesota and Wisconsin. Those tend to be those are the easier trips. So not easy to build wins if you're playing Trinity of Texas or St. Thomas or schools like that in your non-conference schedule. That gets you ready for conference play, but doesn't allow you to build up your win-loss record very much. Jordan Holmes, the point guard here for the Cohawks. Brings it up the floor. Jenna Lehman. You got a Lehman and a Lehman for the Cohawks. 3 off the back of the rim for Lehman, who's also from Iowa City, and here come the Lutes back the other way.
Lehman is the one end, Lehman the two ends.
There you go.
Anna Hurd with the 2 ends finishes that break with a layup.
15-11. Holmes quickly up the floor. Holmes definitely the distributor on the team. 3.5 assists per game, only 4 points per game. Hobbs, who can shoot from out there. Good idea, but a little off the mark as she tried to feed it down low for Riley Clausen, who's checked into the game. Freshman center from Eldridge, Iowa.
I don't know if she was expecting Clausen to cut or if she thought that she was going to be able to bend her pass a little bit around and get the right hop to get it into her hands, but just did not connect.
Voss brings the ball up the floor. Kristen Sturtevant. And now over for Calais. Looking into the post, Voss. Turnaround hook shot. Right idea, but tough angle. And then Sturtevant compounds things by going over the back. So foul on Sturtevant. That will be the 3rd foul on the Lutes here in the first quarter. 15-11 to play. Next one will be free throws for the Cohawks. Two schools who use their mascots very closely named to their schools, the Lutes of Pacific Lutheran and the Cohawks of Co. Driving in. This is Holmes. Holmes feeds back for Hanchey. Hanchey goes hard to the floor. Ball flies into the Pacific Lutheran bench.
You've got the Cohawks of Co., the Dewhawks of Loris in Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah.
And, of course, maybe taking the cue for, and, of course, at Northern Iowa, no, that's Cyclone. But there's a University of Iowa, of course, sets the standard there as the Hawkeyes. And, sometimes that has happened, especially 100 years ago when these traditions were formed. They sometimes schools take their cue from the big dog. I'm looking at you, Penn State directional
I was going to say, or sometimes they just take the logo whole hog because it's cheaper to buy the athletic uniforms in bulk.
Or get the hand-me-down. Oh, no.
Shot off the mark ends up being saved by Taylor Huber, who's not a great idea. Saved it right into the hands of Pacific Lutheran, but they come out unscathed and back the other way, nearly a double dribble for Lehman. I'll work around the outside. Riley Clausen, some of the reserves now here for Coach Oakland into the game. Hanchey's 3 off the mark. And rebound controlled by Anna Hurd, the sophomore from Sumner, Washington.
I know Dave, our producer, is shaking his head over that shot selection. I thought it was a pretty good shot selection. They moved the ball around. She had an open look. She just was off.
Jordan Holmes going to get a break here for Co. As we get our first look at Laken Bolts, a sophomore guard from Keokuk, Iowa.
I think Keokuk. But
yeah, I apologize back to the folks in Iowa because I'm sure I destroyed the pronunciation.
I'm from Minnesota. I don't have a whole lot of expertise on Iowa cities. But
more than I do. Nice steal by Kaylin Voss, who steps into the lane. She leads the team with steals, and you see why there. Anna Hurd for Voss, the floor general here for the Pacific Lutheran Lutes, looking for their first win of the season against a D3 opponent. They'll get one more game after this one tomorrow. Drive in, and that one just won't quite settle. Good look there for Lacey Nicholson. Last touch by the Cohawks.
Keeping an eye on how much the Co-defense is sagging off of the ball handler at the top of the key. PLU's hit a couple of threes so far here in the early going, but have not forced Co to come out there, and it makes it a little bit harder for PLU to put the ball on the floor and penetrate to the basket.
Julia Berenson in the game now for the Cohawks. Jumper is up and good. Nice soft touch there from Kaylin Voss. Not much of a score, only 4 points per game, and that one looked pretty good.
Yep, second bucket of the afternoon. Morning. Depends on where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I've given up on trying to tell people what time anything is or will be. Just going to let you figure that out on your own. Oh, nice save. Saved underneath by Taylor Huber and right to her teammate for an easy 2.
I was going to say, it's a casino. They don't want you to know what time it is, remember?
Well, they're doing very well.
And we never get to leave here. These 6-game days, we enter the gym. Well, I entered the gym at about 9:40. I think Dave was here at about 8:40, 9 o'clock. I don't know when Gordon got here, but we won't get more farther than 15 feet away from here until about midnight. No, 10. I don't know. I'm losing track of times changes, too.
They're long days. Leah Goodman fires up a three-pointer. No good. Back the other way. Voss quickly. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Nice hesitation. Kaylin Voss for 2. She does not look like a player who scores 4 points a game.
Well, and now she isn't anymore. She's got 7 here this afternoon.
That shot, a wild shot from Goodman, no good. 17-15. The Lutz can get even or better. Oh, what a dish from Voss. Drive in, no good. But free throws coming for Lacey Nicholson.
I tell you, she needs a breather, though. It's a good thing the end of the quarter is coming up because she is.
She's heaving.
And she's getting replaced too.
Yeah.
She'll get an extra 39 seconds of rest once the first free throw gets underway here. But yeah, she is working hard.
Lacey Nicholson, a 65% free throw shooter, hits the first shot. Staffing note for later on. She wants to be a sports broadcaster and communications major.
Oh, keep that in mind.
Yeah. I wonder if she's available later this afternoon.
I was going to say, for the 16 games we broadcast a year.
Transferred to Pacific Lutheran from Concordia of Oregon.
It's in Portland.
Yeah.
All these things that I have to know about non-D3 opponents that I wish I didn't have to know.
17 points apiece. Pacific Lutheran has got it even. Hanchy out there trying to get the ball to Goodman. Lutz doing a great job defending on the perimeter here the last couple of possessions. 3 from the far side, no good for Destiny Smith. And Huber puts up the hook shot, no good. Smith, rebound, third chance, no.
Smith kind of struggled yesterday, too. Tried to play a little bit outside of, I think, her abilities, but that was a little bit more in control there.
And Julia Berenson rolls to the rim. Off-balance jumper is good. And the Lutz at the end of one period with a 19-17 lead.
Hey, in the CBA, that's a point, right? Okay, in the CBA in the 1980s, that's a point for winning the quarter. That's it's an excellent first quarter performance for Pacific Lutheran. They did a lot of things right. They moved the ball around well, got open shots, ran the break well, and the thing is going to be the fatigue factor. First of all, we saw it firsthand with Kaylin Voss. Secondly, as a reminder, these teams have taken some time off. Pacific Lutheran hasn't had a game after break yet, so sometimes it takes a little while to get your legs back, and we'll see if this is a pace that they can continue, but right now it's successful for them.
Statistics at the end of the first quarter, Pacific Lutheran 6 of 13 from the floor, 46%, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, and 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Cohawks shot 39% in that first quarter, 3 of 10 from behind the arc, and only miss on the only free throw opportunity. Rebounding advantage in favor of the Lutz, 11-8. And those are the numbers of note at the end of one period. We talked a fair amount about Pacific Lutheran and the rebuilding effort. This is a co-team who badly needs a win. They cannot. They're 5-6 or 5-5. They come out of this weekend. Yesterday was a tough game. That was going to be a stretch playing a Puget Sound team that's ranked in the top 25 and looked every bit of that. This Pacific Lutheran team does not have that resume, and again, they're going to roll right back into conference play, which is not real forgiving. And if they come out of this with 2 losses, it's going to put them pointed in the wrong direction, headed into a tough part of the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, the Iowa Conference in women's basketball has gotten a lot stronger over the past few years. Wartburg with that nice run. Amanda Bailey has made Luther into a strong program once again. So it's really difficult for Co, which has had some success in the past, to try to replicate that going forward.
And Nate Oakland, in his second year as the head coach of the Cohawks, took over for Randy Peterson when she moved on to a Division I assistant job. Or now Randy Henderson. She was Peterson when she was at Co. Nate was also an assistant at Wartburg for 4 years. And you mentioned Northern Iowa earlier. His wife was a 3-time all-conference player there.
That's a big 3 right there to kind of set the tone here for the second period. Lakin Bolts with a nice shot.
20-19, Co back on top. Still taking a lot of threes. Galen Voss, who got that little bit of an extra break. Draws the foul on Alina Hobbs, and free throws coming here for Voss.
I was chatting with Ryan Workman, the SID at Co, before the game, and he said, that's typically what they want to do. They want to shoot threes. They typically shoot better than they did yesterday. A large portion of that, of course, is due to Puget Sound, just the general quality of the team and defense in general. But they definitely, that's a big part of their game plan.
Voss with the basket, or with the free throw, I should say.
Voss got that little bit of breather at the end of the first period.
Second free throw rattles out. And here comes Destiny Smith back the other way. Quickly into the lane. She can fly. Can't finish. And the follow-up layup is no good for Lehman. And three on the way up and good for Mickey Hanchey, who saves the possession with a three.
Just camped out at the perimeter. Pretty much everybody else on the Cohawks was battling for that rebound, and she was just kind of lurking out there ready to snipe, and they got it to her.
23-20. Lacey Nicholson. Pull up from the foul line. Just a little tight on that. And here comes Hanchey back the other way. Cohawks with a 3-point lead on a couple of threes to start the second period. Jordan Holmes over for Destiny Smith. Lehman on the outside, Hanchey. All the passes around the perimeter, as you can see, only occasionally does someone flash inside the paint. Shot clock down to 7 as Jenna Lehman gets a rare touch. Good, delivers it nicely. Got it, count it. And free throw coming. That's Lehman to Lehman for the layup. And a free throw coming.
Nice finish there, and again, you know, anytime you can get a quality look at the basket when the shot clock's running down, I feel that that's a quality possession. Here to put a basket as an exclamation point and maybe a capper with a free throw certainly is icing on the cake.
Yeah, no, a rare interior basket for Co, who isn't generally looking to score that way, but a three-point play, so everything coming in threes here for the Co-Hawks. That time the old-fashioned way, but three straight three-pointers, or three-point possessions, has got the Cohawks in front by 6, 26-20. Pacific Lutheran, a 35% three-point shooting team, and see if Voss can, off the mark, and a foul going to be called here on Lauren Faru, a sophomore forward from Tumwater, Washington, who goes over the back.
Voss is not Voss has had a little success from beyond the arc this afternoon, but it's one thing to shoot straight on with nobody in your face at the top of the key. It's a much lower percentage shot to shoot the three from the corner, and when you're only shooting 18% coming into the game, maybe that's not your spot.
Shot is off the mark, no good. Yeah, Pacific Lutheran shoots 35%, but most of that comes from one player. Julia Berenson shoots 69% from three. And I put together the stats chart, so I know this. She's taken enough where it's not just that she's taken, she's made 5 of 6 or something like that. She shoots them in a decent volume as Destiny Smith with a traveling violation.
The kind of stuff I was talking about earlier.
She plays a little faster than she's able to.
Yeah, she's a freshman. She's got to learn how to play within herself and play within the framework of the game, I guess, for lack of a better term,
Pacific Lutheran trailing by 6 with the ball, under 7 minutes to play. Nice dish down low, a little high-low, but now Voss is the low, and, she makes the adjustment and scores. Caitlin Voss has 10 points.
I think that's a sign of experience, right? You don't try to force it back up against someone who's much bigger than you. She made a little bit of a move. She switched to the other side, got the little reverse layup to go.
So Voss with 10 points. Mentioned she averages 4 per game this year, averaged 5 per game last year. So she's on a career pace here. Outside look for three, blocked, I would suspect partially by Jordan Holmes as it falls about 5 feet short of the rim. And out of bounds. They say last touch by the Lutes, so 26-22. Destiny Smith checks out of the game. Shelby Lehman will get a break. And we get our first look at Kenna Smith, freshman guard from Baldwin City, Kansas, as she checks in, and also Riley Clausen returns. Pull-up jumper from Holmes, no good. Voss with a rebound. Kaylin Voss, who's been doing a little bit of everything. Crow steps down the floor, fires to the baseline. Jumper is up and good. Good shot from Lacey Nicholson. And Pacific Lutheran down 26-24 with under 6 minutes to play in the first half.
Yep, just a nice look. The baseline jumper is not the easiest shot in the world, especially in a big gym.
Pacific Lutheran shooting 42% here in the first half as Voss pokes it away from behind.
Yeah, Coe kind of struggling from the floor right now, 10 of 26. That's 38%. 5 of 14 from beyond the arc is certainly a big boost for them, however.
15-6 advantage from 3 as Hansche, who's had a bunch of them, pulls up. Nice soft touch from about 5 feet out. A teardrop shot drops for Hansche, and the Cohawks back up by 4.
Nice look.
Hansche was 8 points. That gets updated in a second.
If you're following along on live stats, actually, the live stats lag is probably about the same as the YouTube lag. So.
Yeah. Lickelson shot off the mark. Jordan Holmes brings the ball up the floor quickly for the Cohawks. Dishes for Hansche. Hansche loses the handle momentarily and then collects. Holmes. Outside for Smith. Smith dribbles it off one of the Lutz feet, then throws it off one of her teammates' feet. And ball ends up back in the hand of Jordan Holmes. Hansche open 3. And the Cohawks have benefited from those types of weird bounces a couple of times. Now, Kenna Smith is shaken up. She went to the floor for the ball, and the freshman guard from Kansas City is, I think, trying to get her wind. And Kenna Smith says, I'm okay, and she's going to get a break. Taylor Huber back into the game for the Cohawks, along with Lakin Bolts. Bolts replaces Smith. Samantha Calais brings the ball up the floor. Calais, pull-up jumper, got it. Pacific Lutheran shooting extremely well from the floor here, 31-26.
Yeah,
more made field goals that just don't count for as many points.
True, but looking really good here. And if you get shots in the flow of your offense, eventually, if you're a team that relies on the outside shot, sometimes those things come in waves, right? Sometimes it gets a little streaky. But
here's a steal, a 3-on-1, make it a 3-on-2 break. Make it a 3-on-no break. Excellent recovery on defense by Jenna Lehman, who short circuits the fast break.
Yeah, and Voss, see her. She's the distributor. She wants to get her teammates involved, but throwing it with the trailer coming up pretty quickly behind her, the better play for Voss would have been to hold on to the basketball and try to finish it herself.
Jenna Lehman calls for some help, and Hansche obliges. As Caitlin Voss, there she is again, steps into the passing lane, one-on-one, draws the contact. Isn't able to finish, but Voss will go to the free throw line. And
that's a veteran play right there.
That is.
You could tell she knew that her path to the basket was blocked. She was not going to be able to convert in a traditional sense, and so she forced the issue, and at least she'll go to the line. She's not a great free throw shooter, 54% from the season, and 1 of 2, now 2 of 3 today. But, 1 point is better than 0. And that was certainly going to end in a 0 if she tried to take it in for a layup.
Yep. Voss's mother graduated from Pacific Lutheran in 1992.
And I should give her credit that she got 2 of the 2, not just 1.
Well, even if it had been 1, it would have been better than 0.
I think I remember second grade math. I remember struggling actually with greater than and less than in first grade or whatever that was. How do I know if it's supposed to point left or right? Is I supposed to
the alligator? That's how I remember. The little one always eats the big one.
Am I supposed to do that 1 is greater than 0, or am I supposed to do that 0 is less than 1? It's like the shape makes the same sense no matter which way you point it. Okay, sorry. Flashbacks to 1977.
Caitlin Voss with the ball here on the outside. Pacific Lutheran trails by 5, 2:54 to play, and what has been a well-played first half for both teams.
Well, Voss looked like she needs a breather again.
She's
works
turning
hard,
red.
She rarely comes off the – exactly. You can't tell maybe on the shot from up top, but I meant that in terms of the camera, but that shot from up top also.
Voss off the mark, and Coe, who's definitely rotated more players in the advantage here in terms of stamina in the final minutes of the second quarter, although there's another steal for the Lutz. 2-on-1 break. Wow, smacks. Yeah. Adams has it rejected back into her face and then out of bounds. And to add insult to injury, last touch by Adams out of bounds.
Taylor Huber, first block of the season, or at least her first credited one. We talked about underreporting of blocked shots, but that is a beautiful way of just staying with it, especially for a big player running down the floor, staying step for step on the break.
The Lutes are anticipating the passes in the backcourt here out very well. And so they've scouted Co well here. They know where the passes are going, and they know they're going to all be around the perimeter. They've done their homework, unable to convert on that fast break, but they have the ball now trailing by 5 with 2:06 to play in the first half. Voss, as Hanchy edges out on her, and going to get a foul as somebody tried to come through the screen of Anna Hurd.
You know, even though we started 13 minutes late, we're very happy. I think as a broadcast crew, this is only the 5th combined foul of the quarter.
Not by design, but we're making up some time here.
Are you sure it's not by design?
Well, I'm going to assume it's not. But
well, we don't get to make the design. I'm just saying. But,
maybe by the officials' design. Samantha Calais inbounds it. A little give and go. Jumper up and good for Lacey Nicholson just inside the three-point line. It's a long 2. Nicholson, who is the only other Lute besides Calais who averages double digits, and Nate Oakland's going to call a 30-second timeout to talk things over. Just like in the first quarter, Pacific Lutheran with a late surge here to get close. So let's talk about what's coming up the rest of the day.
Yep, it's, of course, a big day here at the D3Hoops.com Classic. We have 6 games going on once again for the second day in a row. Following this one, we'll have another Iowa Conference Northwest Conference game between Simpson and 23rd ranked Puget Sound, scheduled for a 12 p.m. start. Then we're followed by Stevens and Lewis and Clark at 2 p.m. That wraps up our women's coverage. Figuring out our men's coverage, of course, the 100th game in D3Hoops.com Classic history will feature Ramapo, like most of the previous games have.
Like the previous 90 of 100 have.
They will face Gustavus Adolphus. We'll have 5th-ranked Salisbury trying to shake off the loss from last night against Ramapo. They face Hardin-Simmons. Hardin-Simmons with its first game in the Classic. And then we wrap up the night with 11th-ranked UW-Eau Claire facing UC Santa Cruz, the Blue Golds, and the Banana Slugs.
As Division III basketball was meant to be.
Between Blue Golds and
Banana Slugs. Hanchy, from the outside, and you could get some outstanding. You get moving pictures here, but you get some outstanding still photos from Larry Radloff of D3Photography.com. You're probably already familiar with D3Hoops.com. I'm going to assume.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, you can. If you log onto the website, you go to the one of the front page stories. You'll see the photos, links to every story. Larry's shooting all of the games, and I would say at our level, and it's several other levels, none better in the business, it's neat to be able to look at your friend's Facebook feed and see him taking pictures of Aaron Rodgers on a Sunday afternoon.
Right, exactly. Or, country music stars in Nashville, names of which I can't possibly repeat.
Yeah.
Larry's a traveling man. Glad to have him here in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Glad to have him at the Stag Bowl a couple weeks ago in Virginia. But, yeah, mostly Packers games.
33-30. Alina Hobbs, who's been quiet, comes back to life here. A layup for 2. It's the first time they've gone to Hobbs in a while.
Well, that's a really good sign, actually, for Co. They've been able to maintain that lead without a lot of offensive production from Hobbs.
And Hobbs is the one player who kind of doesn't fit in that 3-happy offense because she's more content to drive and score. A nice compliment to the outside scoring. Nicholson's 3 on the way. Back rim, no. Good box out there by Riley Clausen.
And meanwhile, there's only been one possession in each quarter where Kaylin Voss hasn't been on the floor for the PLU offense, and neither of them has ended well.
Yep. Voss not out there now as Nicholson gets a piece of it. Whoop. Nice save by Hanchy. Mackenzie Cooper is the guard who's taken her place. 3 from Hanchy. This one rattles out. And controlled by Samantha Calais, who's had a kind of a quiet first half here. Lute's leading scorer. Calais with a head fake. Drops to the left, 3-pointer off the mark, and out of bounds, and Clay a little frustrated with herself.
Yeah, trying to create something at the top of the key, and maybe got herself a little bit of space to get that shot off, but just did not. It was not in the range.
Hanchy from deep. Oh! That was a good look from 70-something feet. Hanchy could shoot it. Off the mark, and that's the way the first half comes to a close. Again, a well-played first half that the Co-Hawks take a 5-point lead to the locker room. We will take about a 13-minute break and come back with your first half statistics. Half number one of game number one of day number two in the books. It's Go on top of Pacific Lutheran 35-30.
And we're back here at the D3Hoops.com Classic. You can see the halftime stats up on the screen, so I'll summarize some of the individual numbers. Not from yesterday's Co game, which is what I had in front of me. That would be silly. The Co-Hawks leading 35-30. Mickey Hanshey leading the way with 11 points, 4 of 8 from the floor, 3 for 7 from downtown. It's Jenna Lehman with 8 on 3 of 6 shooting, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. She also has a game-high 5 rebounds. Alina Hobbs with 6. And then Jordan Holmes with 3, Lakin Boltz with 3, Taylor Huber and Riley Clausen with a pair apiece for the total of 35 points. Co with the rebounding advantage there, 20-16. They've turned the ball over a couple more times, 7-5. Looking at the Pacific Lutheran side, in terms of individual numbers, we talked about Kaylin Voss. She's had an incredible first half with 12 points, also with a game-high 3 steals, but she's 4 of 7 from the floor, 1 for 3 from downtown, and 3 for 4 from the line. Lacey Nicholson with 7, struggled from the floor a little bit, 2 for 9, but made up for it at the foul line. Samantha Calais with 5, and then it was Berenson with 2, Anna Hurd with 2, Kristen Sturtevant with a pair for the total of 30. Is welcome back in Gordon Mann. In terms of first half, you know, we came in maybe not expecting as much from Pacific Lutheran, considering they've struggled coming into this game and also had coming in off of a few weeks off, but they've played really well so far.
Yeah, somewhat similar to last night's game with UC Santa Cruz. Of all the teams, when I looked at them on paper, I thought, well, that's the one that's going to struggle the most. They sort of start late, they come in late. The gym is an unusual place to play. Now, this will be the first time we mentioned it today, but Pacific Lutheran did have the easier shooting backdrop yesterday. I know there was some chatter on some of the message boards about they could say, well, you know, the DeVos Fieldhouse has a big backdrop. One, that's true. None of these teams play at the DeVos Fieldhouse. Right. 2, it's pretty easy to tell that the DeVos Fieldhouse is an outlier in Division III basketball. And while there may be 10 others like it, I don't know that there are many, if any, in the Northwestern Conference. And I actually watch a fair amount of Northwest Conference because of my work schedule. It's the one I can watch late at night. There you go. On a Friday night. And I enjoy watching the women's games and the men's games. And they all look like the traditional gyms. I'm talking about, you know, the overall structure of the building. I'm sure they all have their individual quirks, but none of them have a deep backdrop like they have here, nor would there be any reason for them to have that. I'm not as familiar with the Iowa gyms.
I am not either.
Alina Hobbs starts her move to the basket and is fouled.
I haven't been a huge fan of driving down I-35 in the winter, let's put it that way, for 4 hours.
Good reason. Drive in, turn around, Hobbs. Boy, she has so many low post moves. 37-30, Co on top. It almost seems like if they wanted to give her the ball every possession, they would get, and just let her run the offense, they would get a good shot every possession. Wouldn't necessarily come from her every time, as Jordan Holmes goes completely unabated to the basket. And that's got to be frustrating for Childress, who sees all the hard work of the first half kind of get scuttled in here in the first 30 seconds of the second half. And Pacific Lutheran can't really afford to have bad stretches here. Richardson, nice move, drives in, and Lacey Nicholson rolls to the rim for an easy 2, and so defense is perhaps still in the locker room here in the opening minutes of the third quarter. Hanchey is poked away. Maybe Samantha Calais heard that remark. I'll show
and
you.
then she pushed her as she went by, too.
Hobbs looking down low, pass is picked off. As Pacific Lutheran's done a great job on steals, and a good look from Voss very quickly. Layup is up and good for Anna Hurd. And it's 39-34, Pacific Lutheran. Every time it looks like they're in danger of getting pushed out of the game, they put a quick little spurt together, and Nate Oakland wants to talk things over on the sidelines for Co.
Yeah, I mean, Co does not want to see Pacific Lutheran continue to gain this confidence, stay in a back-and-forth game with them, because that is, you know, Co, I'm sure, feels like they're a better team than Pacific Lutheran and wants to put them away, and put them away here early in the second half.
Yeah.
Instead, you know, Pacific Lutheran's done a good job getting up and down the floor. Obviously, a couple of back-to-back baskets for Co, but PLU has answered, and they're showing that they're not going to go away.
Just looking at Kaylin Voss's line now after that assist. 4 of 7 from the field. with a 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. She does have 3 fouls, so she's the lone Lute in foul trouble. A couple of players with 2 fouls, Alina Hobbs and Jenna Lehman, but Lehman, not too much beyond that.
Yeah, Voss is the one who picked up the foul here in this quarter.
Drive in, and an offensive foul going to be called as Jenna Lehman picks up the foul, and she was the one with 2, so now she has 3.
Hobbs had 2 at the half. Lehman had 2, now 3. Voss had 2, now 3. Sturtevant had 2.
Coach Oakland does have the luxury of being able to rotate a number of players in for Lehman, so he's going to leave her on the floor for the moment. No look pass there from Calais. Kick outside. Voss looking at the 3 from the deep wing, thinks better of it. Calais, nice fake, shot no good, and Larry Radloff there to make the save. As here comes Co the other way. Holmes quickly over Hanchy for 3. Yes, sir.
Nice shot. You know, I'm not always a big fan of 3s in transition, but I'm always a fan of hitting a 3 in transition. Let's put it that way.
Hanchy, a 38% three-point shooter, and she can really stroke it from outside. 42-34. It's her fourth 3 of the game. Driving, Nicholson tries to get inside, but unable to do so. Kristen Sturtevant. Voss will try the 3 from the top of the arc, and it is good. Yeah. Galen Voss with the answer.
Same spot she hit from in the first quarter, just at the opposite end of the floor.
Did they maybe post the wrong statistics next to her name?
Oh, that's a good question.
At the end of the first semester? Because none of the numbers that you look at seem to hold up. As Hobbs misses the shot, gets her own rebound, forces up the second. No. How about the third try? No. Alina Hobbs adds to the offensive rebounding statistics there, and she'll get free throws.
Sorry, now you've got me diving into the Pacific Lutheran website on my phone. So as I work my way through d3hoops.com to get there. Hobbs, 85% free throw shooter. Hits the second one as well.
So Hobbs gets them both.
No, that's accurate. 2 of 11 from 3 coming in. So it's not a huge sample size.
Right, yeah.
13 to 24 from the line. Those were the numbers that stood out to me before.
44-37, Co by 7 here. Hobbs has had a quick start to the second half, and break there for Co. Not so much for Shelby Lehman, who picks up the foul. Calais set to inbound the basket, or the ball right from the left of the basket. Larry Radloff looks into the eyes of Jordan Holmes and takes the shot.
Oh, with his camera.
Right, yes. Hobbs, nice steal. Nicholson, no, and that's a push in the back on Jordan Holmes. And that is foul number 3. Well, we're making up for lost time on the fouls here.
I think we're making up for gained time, unfortunately.
Yeah. 5th foul of the third quarter here. 3 for Co, 2 for Pacific Lutheran. Voss covered by Hanchy. Putting a little bigger body on her now instead of Holmes to see if they can take away some of her vision of the court. Well, not going to take it away from her by leaving her open there. Voss over the top of the defense. Destiny Smith gets her hand on the ball in the passing lane as Pat will chase that down. Who will get there first, Pat or the arena guy? Pat will get there first. Did you bring your phone? Did those steps count?
I did not. Dang it. But I got a good hustle from one of the fans up there, so I appreciate that.
Voss shot off the mark. Jordan Holmes.
Sorry about the noise when I set the headset down.
That's all right. Holmes over for Destiny Smith. Smith over the top of the defense for Hanchy, who comes aggressively to the ball through the defense. Outside, Lena Hobbs for 3. No. And rebound snatched up by Sturtevant. 44-37, 5:30 to play here in the third quarter. Galen Voss on the outside. for Lacey Nicholson. Voss points to where she wants the screen and then goes the other direction, as players invariably do. Voss into the post. Outside, no look pass. Sturtevant for three. Got it. Kristen Sturtevant, a 33% three-point shooter, connects. And again, Pacific Lutheran hanging around, down by 4.
Yeah, but a nice little example of working inside out. Let the defense kind of collapse in a little bit and give Sturtevant just a little extra room to be open.
Holmes drives in. Hobbs will take the three. And it is good. Alina Hobbs with the answer.
Got a little word of encouragement from Coach Oakland as she ran by in front of the bench as well.
13 points now for Alina Hobbs. Second on the team to Hanshi as host of Cohawks gets set to check back in. Voss will try the deep two, and it is good. This is the best shooting performance we've seen.
By anybody?
By everybody, yeah.
Yeah, across the board at least, yeah.
39% for the Lutes, 48% for Co.
As I was going through and doing the record book this past week, there are not too many teams that have shot over 50% in women's action here at the Classic.
Now, last night, Eau Claire shot 64%, or 63%. So let's see what they can do today against Santa Cruz. But
yeah, okay. Not in women's.
No.
Unless they only took 12 shots.
No, they, right. In women's basketball, they shot much, much lower than that. Drive in, good look, wide open pass to a wide open Riley Clausen. Voss down the floor the other way, her team down 7, draws the foul on Lakin Bolts. Looking to see what the Voss's
season high is, right? Yeah, this is by far the season high, almost double her season high. Previous season high was 9 points in the opener against Cal Lutheran. So her first time in double figures this season. Her first time with multiple three-pointers this season. She's doing all right. She's had a 6-assist game and a 7-assist game and a 5-steal game.
Adds 2 more here. She's now got 19. It's Co 49, Pacific Lutheran 44. Yeah, foul. I guess I should get that. Nope.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll let Jenna get that. Jenna Lehman set to inbound the ball here. Lehman gets the ball into Lakin Bolts. I don't think I've ever heard that as a first name before.
Lakyn, pronounced Lakin. From Keokuk, spelled Keokuk.
Yeah.
Iowa.
Maybe it's a common name in Keokuk. Shot from Hobbs, no good. Rebound controlled by Kristen Sturtevant. Well, Lacey Nicholson badly wanted the ball with Hobbs, but they're going to go a different direction instead. I think it's a good idea. Hobbs has got some long arms. Voss, bounce pass, work it around. Sturtevant thinks about the top of the key. 8 on the shot clock. As Nicholson has it blocked, that's why I said it was a good idea not to try and go at Hobbs. Back the other way, Lehman makes a nice move to the basket, left the defender in her dust, but then missed the shot. Ball stripped away from Riley Clausen out of bounds. And it will stay Co basketball. Bolts gets it inbounds to Lehman. Lehman playing for a while here with 3 fouls. Hobbs calls for the ball, steps through the defense, missed the shot, and the rebound tipped out long to Voss. Pacific Lutheran trying to get this down to 1 possession. Sturtevant, nice move. Got Hobbs off balance and out of position and took it to the rim for an easy 2.
Yeah, and Voss won't get an assist for that. At least I don't think she should get an assist for that, but clearly set that up as well. She's just very intentional and very focused about what she wants out of the offense. She drove in, stopped just inside the foul line, then kind of shoveled it back to her teammate who finished with the layup.
Foul called on Julia Berenson. And a couple of subs. Coach Oakland's going to get Hobbs a break. Destiny Smith's going to come out. Back into the game, Jordan Holmes. And Taylor Huber also returns. Huber calling for the ball, and that's Taylor right there. Jordan Holmes. 2 minutes to play here in the third period. A very well-played opener. 49-46. Coe's led throughout, but has not been easy. Good look down into the post for Jenna Lehman. 51-46.
I've noticed is I'm watching Voss very carefully right now. It's getting to be late in the quarter. The time where you begin to look for her in terms of some fatigue.
Jenna Lehman with the steal. Coast to coast for the layup. Back-to-back baskets by Lehman. Pushes the lead to 7.
As she's driving the ball up the floor, she looks over at her bench, holds up the left hand as if to say, don't come get me. Now, of course, there is a sub at the table now after that turnover.
Calais is probably not there for her. That's who's at the bench, but yeah. Well, she's not red yet, which is how we've been able to tell fatigue levels. Nice pass into the post. They've got Sturtevant all alone, and awkward shot there from Anna Hurd, which is way off the mark, and now Coe with a chance to take a double-digit lead. Lehman will try the three. No, Sturtevant for the rebound. 53-46. Anna Hurd to the near side. Whips it into the post for Berenson, that's a point guard posting up a center. And ball lost off the back of the heel of Sturtevant. Here comes Coe the other way. Lehman again running the fast break. Kicks out, 3 for Bolts. No. And nice rebound by Taylor Huber. Huber collects it, and the backup bigs here for Coe getting it done.
That had been an open 3 for Bolts on the perimeter in the transition, but Voss, even though she's probably tired, comes flying out at her and tries to disrupt the shot.
Jordan Holmes gets free. She'll pull up, 7-footer, rolls in as Lehman gets chucked to the court. It's a 55-46 lead, largest lead of the game for Coe. 6 seconds on the clock. This is Berenson. She can shoot it. Well, that one's way off the mark. Berenson will get a second shot. Got it! Now Berenson is the one who shoots 69% from 3, and did not miss on the second chance and cuts the lead to 6.
Yep, that's a bit of a flurry there to end the quarter. Not the way they drew it up, but give a shooter a second shot from almost the same spot. You're going to have a much higher percentage chance of making it the second time around.
Well, Berenson's not tall, listed as 5'5", and she gets a low trajectory on her shot, but if she's got space, she's dangerous, and she hits that there.
Well, 1 quarter left to go. Coe beginning to edge away here a little bit. Pacific Lutheran with that 3 to cut it back to a 2-possession game. But if I'm Nate Oakland right now, got to really impress upon my players the fact that this is an opportunity for them, that they need to put this away early, because if they continue to let Pacific Lutheran stick around, anything can happen late in the game. I know that's a cliche that gets used maybe more often in other sports, but I think it applies to basketball as well.
This is it for the non-conference portion of the schedule. The IAAC schedule grew by 2 games. One team is Nebraska Wesleyan. Gave up its NAIA status and joined the IAAC this year. The Prairie Wolves. After this, thank you very much. After this, it will be about a week off for Coe. Then they'll be on the road at Dubuque, home for Nebraska Wesleyan, and then Simpson, who's also here at the D3 Hoops Classic this week. They'll head to Indianola. Still got a game left with Wartburg. Still got a game left with Luther. Buena Vista quality program. They've got 2 left with them. So, again, as we've said before, not that this counts in the conference standings, but you got to get the wins where you can. Top 6 teams in the IAAC make the conference playoffs. And the bottom 3 right now are winless. They have played some games in that conference. But Coe is one of just a couple of teams below 500 at the moment in the IAAC. Driving to the left side. Sturtevant out there with Calais, Voss, Nicholson. Nicholson, nice reverse layup for 2.
Off of a really hard bounce pass from Lauren Faroux that I wasn't sure they were going to be able to convert.
Faroux completes the 5 that are out there to start the final quarter. Alina Hobbs gets the ball, gets fouled, won't get it to drop. But the Lena will get free throws along with.
It's going the other way.
Oh, it's against Hobbs. Okay.
Yeah, Hobbs just coming in a little bit too hard.
That's Hobbs' third foul. 9:22 to play here in the third quarter. Hobbs is 13. Hanchy has 14.
Hobbs with 3, Voss with 3 on the floor right now, 1 for each team.
Drive in, layup is up and good as Lauren Faroux gets into the scoring act. Now only averages 2 points per game. The sophomore from Tumwater, Washington. Jordan Holmes travels. I say it's a little out of control there, and Pacific Lutheran has a chance to draw even or take the lead. Northwest Conference teams 2-0 so far here at the D3Hoops.com Classic on the women's side, but candidly, Pacific Lutheran is from the second tier of that conference, but looks really good. They do not look like a 1-8 team as that ball goes spiraling out of bounds.
No, they don't. I'll be honest with you. I have to look through that schedule and see why they're 1-8.
Yeah. Well, opened with a loss to Cal Lutheran, lost to Nebraska Wesleyan, who's conference mates of Co. And then a bunch of teams whose names don't mean very much to us. Evergreen State, Multnomah Bible, Warner Pacific. Actually 0-2 against IAAC teams this year. They lost to Buena Vista as well. Calais set to inbound the ball, 9 on the shot clock. Lutz down by 2. And excellent defense from Co. Calais just does get it into Nicholson. Nicholson with Hobbs on her, tries to get her to bite on the head fake. Oh, up and under and around. Lacey Nicholson, pretty move. It's back-to-back finger roll type layups from Nicholson here this half, and the Lutz are even.
Has long arms, too, to get around the defender.
Uh-oh.
And the ball gets stuck, so that's going to go to the possession arrow, which is Co. So this is a tie ball game here with 8:16 to go.
Nicholson's going to quickly come over to Coach Childress and have a talk with the coach. And Voss says, I can fix this. Boop.
Because she's got nothing else going on.
That's right.
Sure, let's just run from one end of the court to the other and back to the other end of the court to be the one person.
She's got all kinds of energy. Puget Sound players trickling in. They're going to take the floor next. They'll take on Simpson. As Alina Hobbs hits the first free throw. 56-55, Co on top.
Hobbs 3 of 4 from the line this afternoon.
Hobbs was the IIAC Player of the Week last week. It's the second one here. 57-55. Hobbs gives the lead back to the Co-Hawks. 15 points now for Hobbs. 2-point advantage. Voss, nice pass, cut Calais, got it.
Yeah.
Soft touch on the baseline, tied at 57.
That's pretty. That's a nice little baseline cut. Minimum of effort, easy 2.
7:54 to play. Driving in. Lehman, layup for 2.
Yep, and a nice answer. I mean, some pretty simple, pretty basic stuff that's been in people's playbooks for decades, but it's because it works.
Voss, covered by Hanchy, over for Sturtevant. Outside, Calais will try the 3 from the wing. Front rim, no. Co-Hawks control the rebound. Taylor Huber snaps it up. Jenna Holmes quickly down the floor. Hobbs sets a screen to the right. They'll go to the left instead for Huber.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Co, you really want to push the tempo here. You've got the depth advantage, even though I know Co's playing its second game in 2 days. Maybe there's a little bit of fatigue factor in there as well, but the end of Co's bench or the 6 through 9 players, much more effective than PLU's.
Drive in, Hanchy will draw the foul on Kaylin Voss, and that's Voss's 4th. And Coach Childress takes a look down to the end of her bench and just waved at her and shook her head and said, nope. And she said just stay out there, but that's not what they're going to do. They're going to bring in the sub. I guess she was just waving off the foul call. That was what she was expressing the frustration with.
Perhaps. Or she was waving off the sub and Voss kept walking anyway.
Pass and a foul, I guess. I guess they're going to say Hobbs was fouled by Sturtevant. Be her third.
Voss could, of course, certainly use a breather. The problem is that we've seen PLU with just one possession at the end of the first and one at the end of the second without her on the floor, and the offense just doesn't look like it knows what it wants to do without her out there.
Mackenzie Cooper gets the keys to the car. See what she does with them. She replaces Voss. Jordan Holmes drives in. Boy, they are super aggressive on Holmes. Huber drives in, and that shot, they're going to get a block on Anna Hurd, who was too deep in the box. And so Huber, the freshman, heads to the free throw line.
Well, Cooper was super aggressive on Holmes, and she kind of overplayed the trying to step into the passing lane and take it away. Holmes nearly made her pay for it.
Free throw up and no good. Oops.
Cooper boxes out on the first shot of 2.
Huber, not a lot of experience with the free throw line this year, just 2 for 4 coming into the event, and misses them both. 59-57. 6:45 to play here in the fourth quarter. Pacific Lutheran continuing to hang around against 5 and 6 Co. And Pacific Lutheran 1-8 on the season. Left side, Cooper. Calais will try a 3, and that is off the mark, and Hobbs there to control the rebound.
Well, and I like what Co did here. They changed up their defensive look. You know, the sophomore backup point guard has been on the bench basically the entire game watching what Co has been doing, and the minute that the offense changes, they throw a different look at her.
Hobbs working around. Good triangle offense. Lehman for 3. Can't get it to fall. Calais will bring it up the floor. It's 1-on-2. Bounce pass. Pretty. Nicholson couldn't finish. But what a delivery from Calais. And a chance to tie the game goes by the books. And Hanchy to make them pay the other way. No. Rebound by Lehman. Comes flying in to take it away. 1-on-3. And now an open look for Holmes. Hesitates. Goes by Cooper. Layup. No good. And Anna Hurd with the rebound.
A couple of missed opportunities on either end for both teams.
1-on-5 for Calais, and so she pulls it back. Now they'll give it to Calais. Anna Hurd trying to post up on Taylor Huber. And it looks like Clay's going to basically run the offense now. Hurd drops it in for Nicholson. Nicholson powers through. Hobbs got it. Count it. Going to the line.
Again with those long arms. They're bigger defenders that she's going up against, and she still has the ability to get around them.
And a chance for a Pacific Lutheran lead now, tied at 59.
And the zone, the 3-2, the 1-2-2 that Co has thrown out here the last couple of possessions gave Pacific Lutheran fits the first time around. Second time around, they at least were able to work it through and get a good shot out of it.
Nicholson finishes the three-point play. She's quietly put up 16 here. And Alina Hobbs, who's picked up her 4th foul, will go to the bench.
Some of them not so quiet.
Yeah.
She's had some pretty impressive-looking shots, especially here in the second half. She's had a really good second half of action after picking up 7 points on 2 of 9 shooting in the first half.
So PLU on top, 60-59. First lead for the Lutes. Huber outside. And now the Cohawks with Hobbs on the bench with foul trouble. Shot no good. Jordan Holmes for the follow. Got it.
That's true. Each team now with one of its key offensive pieces on the bench.
Well, not for long. Voss sits at the scoring table ready to check in with 4:50 to play. Co on top, 61-60. Calais gets the screen and rolls to the near side. They give it back to Samantha. Calais, top of the defense, 9 on the shot clock, 3 from Sturtevant, no good. Jenna Holmes with the rebound. And Holmes quickly brings it up the front court. Hands off, Lehman. Lehman to Holmes, And now back to Lehman, 17 on the shot clock. Look for Hanchy to get a shot here. Lehman drives in. The shot is blocked, but a foul called. And if that's on Sturtevant, that's her 3rd. It's not. It's on Lauren Faru. It's her 3rd. And a chance to extend the 1-point advantage here. Lehman at the free throw line. She is a 75% free throw shooter, all conference. Honorable mention last year, misses the first. Subs coming in. Kaylin Voss returns. Samantha Calais will get a break. Well, there's 3 players running to the sideline. They only brought 2 in. Now Calais will stay on the floor. Okay. So Voss returns, as does Nicholson. Well, Nicholson was already out there. Anna Hurd is back on the floor. 62-60. Timeout taken by Pacific Lutheran as Matt Bush stands up the signal that he wants a full timeout. One of the assistants. And we'll take the break with them, 62-60. Co on top. A good one to start day 2 of the D3Hoops.com Classic. Welcome back again. First of 6 today. There's the rest of the day's events. 2 more women's games. Simpson and Puget Sound. Stevens, who got their first win of the season yesterday. They'll play Lewis and Clark in a battle of 2 very different styles. Stevens prefers to keep things in the 50s, and Lewis and Clark likes to get up and down the floor. And then on the men's side, Ramapo and Gustavus Adolphus. 100th game ever at the D3Hoops.com Classic. Hardin Simmons and Salisbury, and Eau Claire and UC Santa Cruz to finish out the second day of the 7th annual D3Hoops.com Classic. 7 on the shot clock here, 2-point co-lead. Voss, off-balanced runner. Oh.
Yeah, she's back in the game.
21 points for Kalen Voss, 62 apiece. Oakland with a little smile on his face. There's not much more you can do to defend that. 3 from Lehman off the mark, no good. Alina Hobbs gets set to check back in. Pacific Lutheran with a chance to take their largest lead of the game. They've only led by 1 for a brief moment in time. Voss, a dangerous pass. It does eventually work its way to Sturtevant. Sturtevant for 3. Got it! Caitlin Sturtevant, 3 in front of her own bench, and suddenly it's the Lutes of Pacific Lutheran by 3.
Big shot. And I thought, it was not a great cross-court pass the first time around, but right before that, she made a really good decision. Voss did, not forcing the issue and trying to finish a fast break when she did not have an advantage.
Far sideline, Lehman drives in. Good look for Riley Clausen, who finishes the layup, and Coach Oakland wants a timeout, I think, more than anything, to get Alina Hobbs in the game. 65-64.
Yeah, remember
51 to play.
Hobbs with 4 fouls, Kaylin Voss with 4 fouls, so and Anna Hurd now with 4 fouls for PLU as well. So a couple of the key cogs on each side playing with that disadvantage and having to worry about how they're going to play defense over the course of the final 251. It's probably not a coincidence, Gordon, that Pacific Lutheran's taken this lead while Hobbs has been on the bench, because she has been such a big part of the Cohawks offense here in Vegas.
Yeah, Mickey Hanshy has been very quiet here in the second half. She has 14 points, but 11 of them came before the break. Hit 1 3 from the near wing early in the half, and that's it. I don't think she's even attempted too many shots beyond that. And again, Pacific Lutheran, 2 teams that really need a win here. Pacific Lutheran to kind of jumpstart their season, and Co to, again, prevent it from heading down a bad path. Have a week to think about 2 losses before getting back into conference play. It's not where you want to be.
Meanwhile, Hobbs has 9 of her 15 points here in the second half, but it's come at a bit of a price. She was 3 for 3 from the floor, really selective in her 6 first half points, but 2 for 7 here in the second half, along with 1 for 3 from downtown, 4 for 4 from the line.
Well, draw us up a play here, Pat. Where are you going if you're Co?
Going to Hobbs.
Okay.
Next question. But it's, if we got PLU going to the line, right, or PLU with the basketball, so.
Yeah, Pacific Lutheran with the basketball, right.
And I'm gonna let Voss do what Voss does, and whether that's create a shot for Nicholson or create a shot for Sturtevant, been pretty impressed with the way she's run point here this
whatever
afternoon.
she decides is okay with me. Calais.
I'm not qualified to tell her otherwise.
16 seconds on the shot clock. Calais rubs off the screen over in the corner. 9 seconds on the clock. Pat shakes his head, says, don't take that shot. Dishes off. Voss. Oh! Hobbs rejects it back in her face. Jumper, no. And a rebound controlled by the Cohawks, who need a basket here, down by 1 with 2:17 to play.
Well, passed up the low percentage shot, took it to the rack. Hobbs said there's no way that's happening.
Hobbs drives in, forces her way to the rim. Shot is no good, but Alina Hobbs will get some free throws.
Well, and remember that, too, about Hobbs. She's playing with 4 fouls, so she had a very, very clean block and, knew that she had an opportunity to clean block. But every time that you make that decision on the defensive end playing with 4 fouls, you're taking the rest of your game into your hands.
Decent contingent from on hand watching this game. You can't tell from even when you see the crowd because it's such a big facility, but for considering where this game is being played and where these teams are from, there's a good crowd here. Hobbs gets both free throws and gets the Cohawks back in front. Hobbs with 17, and the Cohawks lead 66-65.
I got a kick out of Voss during that free throw, demonstrating some question that she had with the official, actually kind of boxing up and twisting around him to try to explain what she was complaining about.
Well, maybe it worked because I don't know that there was much contact there for Voss, who got the foul called on Hanshi.
Well, the whistle wasn't blown by that particular official, but hard to not notice the conversation anyway.
Voss heads to the free throw line. Again, she's got 4 fouls, and she hits the first one very calmly. 22 points now for Kaylin Voss.
For someone who'd come in struggling a little bit in limited opportunities from the foul line, she's now 6 of 7 here this afternoon.
Tied at 66, and will stay that way as she leaves the second one short. Hobbs with the rebound. 1:45 to play. Well, close games have been somewhat hard to come by here at the D3Hoops.com Classic, but we've got one now. 1:37 to play, 14 on the shot clock. Holmes looks one direction, goes the other. Lehman driving in, powers to the rim, lays it up for 2. Nice take by Lehman, who's got 17 points. Voss quickly back the other way, 68-64. Sturtevant thinks about a 3, and they'll settle it back down, 1:20 to play.
Got to run your offense here.
Voss drives in, Hanshi picks her up. Backdoor cut, Calais, no, but she is bumped and fouled, and Huber and Holmes were both in the neighborhood. It's going to be on Jordan Holmes. That's her second.
I think I finally figured out what it is I like about how Voss runs the offense. She does a good job getting the pass to her teammate in the right way, as the first free throw is good. It's not just reliant on a bounce pass or a push pass or a chest pass. It's like, there's
whatever is the most effective way with you in motion.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
She always seems to put her teammates in the best possible position to finish.
Nikki Hanshi trying to hide in the bench, hoping no one will notice she's sitting out there open for 3. 68-68, and she's pretty wide open at the moment. They go down low to Lehman instead, and Lehman again. Man, Jenna Lehman with 19 points, and she's taken over this game for the Cohawks offense, and it's a 2-point lead with under a minute to play.
Interesting, what you said about Hanshi. She is just kind of hanging out there, and Voss is sagging way, way off of her.
Yeah, giving away a bunch of inches as it is, so, But they really have looked towards Lehman in this half. And Coach Oakland and his staff, including Kayla Waskow, who had a tremendous performance here a handful of years ago in the D3Hoops.com Classic. Kayla, a graduate of Co in 2013. Other assistants on the staff, Tyler Griffith and Justin Lydell.
Dave is going to go out and play a sideline reporter, but he's been producing for us. This broadcast is also presented in part by Production Truck Software with Blue Frame Technology. We thank them for their partnership to help present the 7th annual D3Hoops.com Classic. Basically, that is all of the graphics that you see surrounding our broadcast. We appreciate it's a nice new look, and we're pretty happy about it. We make this one camera here look awesome.
We do. 70-68. Also, we appreciate the work of the camera people who have been rotating throughout the day because it would be cruel to make one person do all 6 games.
Hey.
But we appreciate them.
It's pretty cruel to make us do all these games.
Well, there's more than one of us, and I think we're having more fun.
We are having fun. We get to talk to each other and to you guys.
70-68. Pacific Lutheran down by 2, 48 seconds to play. Voss cutting, Hurd, no, couldn't finish. Open look, couldn't finish. Hobbs with the rebound. Pacific Lutheran doesn't have to foul, but they do need a stop. Holmes to Hobbs. And now with 19 seconds on the shot clock, Pacific Lutheran should just play defense straight up here. Both teams are in the bonus. Holmes will run a little clock. Shot clock down to 10 seconds. Holmes to her right. Penetrates. Charge. Holmes lifts the knee and crashes into Nicholson, and the Lutes will get one more chance to tie the game. Third foul on Holmes.
And now shot clock turns off. They have a chance to not only tie the game but to take the lead, and Pacific Lutheran is not going to let that opportunity go by without some discussion. They're going to talk it over here. So Pacific Lutheran, I think if I'm Pacific Lutheran, I think I'm going for the win. I know they're not the greatest three-point shooting team, and they're not in the greatest end of the floor to do that. But I'm mindful of Voss playing not only with 4 fouls, but having played about 38 and a half minutes of the 39 minutes that we've played so far. That would be where I would. I wouldn't like my chances going into overtime. Now, maybe just speaking personally, too, from the fact that this is the first of 6 games and it started 13 minutes late, I'm not in the mood for this game to go to overtime either. But I do think if you're PLU, the wise choice is to try to end it here in regulation.
The Lutes with hands linked in the huddle.
Frosty Westring?
Yeah. He's the legendary head coach of football at Pacific Lutheran. And Dave lurking on the sideline. They over the other way. Trying to finish this off. Pacific Lutheran trying to get a win.
Didn't really have a play drawn up. More about just talking it through, reminding there was timeouts, talking about giving each other space. Really didn't draw up a thing.
Yeah, sticking with their base offense.
But remember.
Yep. They break the huddle and then nearly throw it away. Voss catches it. 17 on the game clock. Shot clock is off. Lutes a 2 to tie, a 3 to win. Voss down low. Open. Oh, Nicholson blows the open layup. And the Lutes will foul. Nicholson had the open look and just missed it. Open look and couldn't convert. 2 chances for Pacific Lutheran to tie the game and just off the mark on both.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of look you want. I mean, that has worked so many times for
them. How about
a
play that gets you a wide open layup from 3 feet out? Would you take that? Yeah.
I would accept one of those as the result of.
And Nicholson just maybe the moment a little bit too much getting to her because she's played really well. But hey, they will get a shot to tie here at least.
Not over. Got to make your foul shots.
Barring a rebound, Hobbs checks in and out, offense, defense. Mickey Hanchey is in. 2 timeouts left for Pacific Lutheran, 1 for the Cohawks. This would make it a 3-point game, and we're not going to get there. And Pacific Lutheran uses that last timeout. The ball will advance. Now the clock just ran 2.5 seconds off. They need to fix that. The clock just ran some time off. Should be closer to 4.
They are fixing the clock. The other thing, they're going to come up here and remember
they
move up to the 28-foot mark.
Yep.
The other thing, too, is I believe they have 2 timeouts, do they now? Or now down to 1?
Now down to 1.
Yeah.
So Dave, keep us surprised on what they decide on the clock.
Somewhere between 4 and 5, I would guess.
Put the clock at 4.5.
There you go.
4.5 is what I'm hearing.
Well, the argument was it had to start at some point. Well, that is technically true on the catch.
Once he catches it, right.
But I think the argument the clock operator was trying to make, and I don't agree with it, think was trying to argue off the back of the rim, which is obviously not true.
So it's not the way it works in
time does
basketball.
have to come off the clock, but not as much as they were trying to argue.
I'm pretty sure the officials are in charge of what the clock should be, and they should just dictate a time, and the clock operator should set that time. And the teams need to know how much time there is going into this timeout.
Yeah, because you get you draw a different play up with 5 seconds than you do 2.
Are we not adjusting this time?
I thought it was going to be 4.5. Sounds like it's going to be 5.2.
Okay.
All right, so in that case, no time comes off the clock.
Currently it says 0.5. Presumably that will be fixed.
Yeah, you draw a really different play up for 0.5 seconds.
Hold on a second here.
Yeah, so the referees
All
trumped
right,
it.
5.2. Here we go. Let's play ball.
One more chance here for Pacific Lutheran. 2 to tie, 3 to take the lead. Calais off the screen, puts it up. No! Hobbs with the rebound, and that's the way it comes to an end. Coach Childress looking for a foul there. None to be had, and the Cohawks get a sorely needed win. Well played game. Pacific Lutheran made them work for every bit of it. But the Cohawks will head home from the D3Hoops.com Classic with a 1-1 record. Dave saying no foul. Yeah, I don't have a problem with them not calling it there.
Agreed. 2 opportunities for Pacific Lutheran there in the closing seconds. One where they had a fantastic, amazing look at the basket.
Actually 3 possessions to tie.
That's true. Multiple opportunities to tie or take the lead and just unable to come up with it. But, for a first game back from break for a team that's struggling at 1-8, this is not something for PLU to hang their heads about. They need to stay with it and come back tomorrow because they've got one more game here.
Yeah, and a winnable game against Eau Claire. They'll finish it off against Eau Claire, who did not look good yesterday, as Dave has got head coach Nate Oakland.
Hard-fought win, Coach. Guys couldn't put them away when you had the opportunity. Really had to fight that one all the way down to the end.
Yeah, it was a scrappy contest, and I think, and we told our group going in, yeah, they're 1-8, but that's a really tough-nosed, well-coached team that plays really hard. And I give them a lot of credit because they just kept coming at us. I mean, we tried to take a couple things away, and they got some kids that can really play, and it was a gutsy performance. I felt like our kids responded. So to pull that one off, it feels really good.
Tough game yesterday, tough game today. What do you take from the weekend moving forward into conference play now?
Both games were like conference games for us. Our league, we're fortunate our league is tough. And if you don't show up, you're going to take one in the chin. So, we challenged our group last night. We got to flush that one yesterday and come back and respond. And I felt like we looked like a different group today. We've got to be able to rely on shooting some threes with our size or lack of size, and it was good to see us come out and be engaged defensively and be engaged on the glass, and now you make some shots. So all in all, it was an unbelievable trip. Played 2 teams that are just as good as everybody in our league, if not better, and so it's really going to set us up for heading into conference play next week.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy the city, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thanks to Coach Nate Oakland. His team gets the victory. They improved back to 500. They are 6-6. And Pat saying they basically treated these just like 2 conference games. And I guess that makes sense. They basically took a short break from conference play and now back at it next week. Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it, too. And, for the Iowa Conference, like we said earlier, this is the first time for them that they've had to expand out their conference schedule because Nebraska Wesleyan makes it a 9-team conference, and it's a little bit of a different animal. So that's kind of a good way to look about it. I think that's some really wise thinking. But looking at these final stats, just an amazing performance by Caitlin Voss, of course, we said over and over. On the coast side, another great afternoon from Alina Hobbs and Jenna Lehman and Mickey Hanshy as well. Yeah, Lehman, 19 points, 8 of 16 from the floor, 7 rebounds, and got the big baskets in that fourth quarter when they needed it. A couple of drives to the rim for 2 for Lehman in the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much at risk the entire time. Hobbs finishes with 17 points, 5 of 10 from the floor, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and Mickey Hanshy had 14 points, got most of them in the first half, only had 3 in the second half, but she did hit 4 of 9 from behind the arc. Jordan Holmes finishes with 9, 4 for Riley Clausen, 3 for Lakin Bolts, and 2 apiece for Taylor Huber and Shelby Lehman. For Pacific Lutheran, Kaylin Voss put on quite a performance. 22 points for Kaylin Voss, 7 of 14 from the floor. She hit 2 of 4 threes, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And a very full game of action for Kaylin Voss, who again came into the game averaging about 4 points per game. Nicholson finishes with 16 points, but it's probably going to be the 2 shots she missed at the end, which were both relatively open looks. She finishes 6 of 17 from the floor. That one in particular where she sprung free for an open layup and missed, that's the one she'll be thinking about as they get ready for their second game tomorrow. She also had 4 rebounds and 3 assists. 10 points for Kristen Sturtevant. Samantha Calais with 9 points, a little off her average. Julia Berenson with 5, 4 for Anna Hurd, and 2 for Lauren Faru. So again, your final numbers: Coe College 70, Pacific Lutheran University 68. Cohawks improved to 6-6, and they head home from Vegas with a win. Pacific Lutheran drops to 1-8. They will hang out here and play again tomorrow. They will take on Eau Claire at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock local time, 2 o'clock on the Northwest Coast where Pacific Lutheran is based. For Dave McHugh and Pat Coleman, that'll do it for our first broadcast. We'll come back in about 12 minutes or so, get you ready for game number 2. It's the number 23 ranked Puget Sound Loggers looking to chop down the Simpson University Storm out of the Iowa Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Back in about 12 minutes with the D3Hoops.com Classic.